Great, we're live, Catherine. Lovely to be here with those of you who are live, and hello to those of you who will be watching in a recording. My name is Deborah Croft, and I'm one of two CEOs who run Thriving Talent, which, as you know, is a consulting, training and coaching business. Absolutely delighted to be here. Delighted because of the topic, caring and career, which we're going to do a deep dive into, and also delighted because I'm here with one of our team members, Catherine. So Catherine, let me hand over the mic so you can introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, my pleasure to be with you, Deborah. Having worked for several years now with the Thriving Talent, both as a facilitators of workshop, of trainings, and executive coach. And also before that, as an executive search consultant across industries and functions and sectors, I get to hear on a daily basis what it takes to be a leader, a manager, an engineer, a scientist, whatever, and a working parent, and more precisely, working mothers often. Since they tend to represent the majority of the people seeking individual coaching in that special time of their life. So I hear what it takes to thrive being a working parent, but a lot I also hear about the many challenges and struggles and doubts and compromises there. So that's why today we'd like to shed some special light on what is changing, what has not been evolving so much yet, and what are potential leverage for both individuals and organizations.
Excellent. Thank you, Catherine. And as you say, the key message here is don't leave us. And we're specifically diving into retaining and engaging working parents. And then the first question is, why bother? Apart from it's the right thing to do, but, essentially why bother? And it's because working parents are a significant part of organizations' workforce. Obviously, it will change depending on the type of company you're in, but typically, as a general rule, working parents have a huge contribution to your workforce. And of course, what happens in many organizations and in many countries is this caring and career crash that happens when late 20s, early 30s, individuals are starting to think about having a family, and they're starting to consider what's possible or indeed what's not possible. And what we want to be sharing today is, how do you look at this topic through two lenses, really? The lens of, well, I'm the parent, I'm about to be a parent, maybe I am a parent. What's the world look like according to me? And then equally through the lens of, well, we're in an organization. What is it we can be doing to make sure that we give the right narrative and we create the right environment for parents to think, actually, I can be a parent here and I can have a career. So that's really what we're going to be leaning into on this LinkedIn Live. So to get us started, Catherine, I really want to come to you and ask you to think about the many, many workshops and the many, many coaching conversations you've had over the years. To what extent has the situation evolved for both parents over the last generation?
I like that we start with the half full glass. First of all, I would say now we can talk about it, and we are talking about it. And when I say we, I mean professionals, all stakeholders, and parents themselves, of course. So we're not leaving our personal life at the door anymore before entering in the office. On the contrary, the technology also is allowing us to integrate both our professional and private sphere much easily. So this is easier, this is accepted, And the COVID years as well have opened a window into our private life, our home, the variety of situations that employees and parents were facing. So it's now in the air. I also notice, especially working with future parents or very young parents, that they are warned, they anticipate much more than I would say our generations 20 years ago. It might also be because they are fully aware of the risk of what's at stake and what they don't want to happen. So I'm often, not systematically, but I'm often astonished at the level of preparation of some of the mothers. They have it all. They have figured it all. They have a plan. They know if they want to stay in touch with the employer during the leave or not. They are fairly advanced in their transition plan before. They know that they still want to leave room for the unexpected. And dad as well wants to be involved, dad, and start having some of these conversations before even the baby arrives, which for me is something new and a great sign.
Yeah.
I also see some happy fews. It's not the rule yet, it's not the norm, but some young parents who manage to sail through their careers, and even dual careers couple. They manage. It's still rare, and sometimes with some pretty much innovative personal settings. Recently I came across a woman at a vice president level in a big pharma in a job sharing setting. Can you imagine? I mean, this is exceptional, and you can also imagine the level of loyalty that she'll be faithful to her employer forever, because she has found that ideal combination. I've seen couples of expatriates or diplomats who are using the opportunity of living in faraway countries where they can have an army of help and nannies. Why not? I've seen stay-at-home dads supporting extremely active mums, or recently even an independent father as a lawyer who's working part-time. It's possible, it's unusual, and that was in Zurich. So flexible schedules with up to 3 children.
I love what you're saying, and I want to pull out a couple of threads that I heard in terms of, as you say, there is an evolution. It may be in the 20 years, my 2 girls are now 17 and nearly 15. So even I notice a change as well, and similar age to your girls, Catherine. But the themes I heard there that come out is what has evolved is actually there is no traditional kind of family. The family has luckily society is opening up, still has work to do, where we have same-sex families, a lot more adoption, a lot more surrogacy. There's not one standard unit, and I think with that evolution comes a requirement for organizations to really catch up, because people are now making more conscious choices because they're empowered to do so. Like I say, not in every country. I know that this LinkedIn Live will be going out to many countries, but that's definitely changed. I think you also talked about, the impact on when you're, mobility. I mean, you think traditionally, certainly before COVID especially, but global mobility was a really important influencer in your career development. And of course, that means coming to different countries. And one of the things we've seen, in fact, it's probably the reason why I started my first business here in Switzerland 13 years ago, was the challenges and the joys, but there are challenges when you transition to parenthood, are amplified when you're in a country that's not your own country in terms of you haven't got your extended family to support you. Maybe you haven't got lots of close friends to support you. And, you know, in that transition, there's a lot of vulnerability. There's quite a bit of loneliness. And this is why it can have a hugely negative effect if you're quite isolated. And that's where we do need to lean into, well, what are the communities you can create around that? So global mobility was another evolution. And the third one I want to come to is you talked about fathers. And this does warm my heart, is because one thing we have seen probably in the last 5 years, I would say, and we've had a role to play in this at Thriving Talent using business cases, is finally we're getting to see more parental leave, equitable parental leave. And so that role as a father, I mean, you know, it has really evolved. I mean, you think of what it was like, you know, for generations gone, for you know, I think of my father, my grandfather, you know, it is very different. And so typically men and secondary carers and same-sex relationships feel like actually they want to be more present. They want to be there in the evenings, in the mornings. COVID gave them this moment to come off the treadmill and to have that time, which isn't at the end of the day when everyone's tired and fed up. And the parental leave allows them to actually really be involved and engaged at a critical time when you're learning the ropes. You're learning how to be a parent, or as we see with Betty, they actually you know, share the care. So maybe the primary carer will stay for the first 4 or 5 months maternity, and then another carer will come in either for her secondary maternity or a paternity. And that's been a massive evolution. So finally empowering the second parent has been huge. And there's still a lot of work to go. I know that. So one of the things we have to do is we've got to keep influencing where those organizations have increased the secondary carer leave. The work we need to do at Thriving Talent, and we see this in the workshops, is we need to really actively encourage those parents to take the full use of that policy, to really step into it. Because often we can hold ourselves back and think, well, in my culture, you don't typically take this leave, or especially for men, you hear them say the same challenges that women have said for years. I mean, we've heard this for the last 15 years in Thriving Talent for working parents. So I think our role now is really helping the secondary parent feel empowered to, yes, take the full leave. Your career will not be over. You know, how do you navigate that? And so if we stay in that space in terms of what are the themes, like the common themes you see for both parents across the multiple workshops, whether it's before the parental leave or after the parental leave, or in the coaching conversations that happen, what are some of the themes that you think are coming up? What do people want?
One you mentioned already, Deborah, both want to be actively parenting. And this is already a discussion before the first baby. They want to be involved, they want to be devoted, they want to have quality time. Also, fathers often have to be a bit prompted to actually translate that into concrete decision and actions, but it's there, it's in their mind, it's in their heart. Both parents also, I notice, are aware that they still need and they still want some me time. You know, the sacrificial myth, and it's true concretely, we still see new parents becoming somehow bipolar. There's the baby, there's the family cell and work, and not much room for anything outside that. But quickly they realize that me time is crucial. And then without overgeneralizing, I hear fathers quickly need to get back on with doing some sports, and as well, and mums as well, of course, and us time, realizing that the couple as well still need to survive as the pillar of of the whole house. And maybe at times I observe that women tend to be the first one to ring the alarm bell, realizing, that there's no more room for some time for the couple. When I realized the number of years it took me to realize that was hard work and that we were entitled to some of it as well, I see that it's evolving. So both parents are more aware, more warned, and they want to be actors and choose their life, not just follow the flow and this is how it's always been and this is how it is.
I think, as you say, there's definitely a sense of people feeling more confident to speak up, to ask what they want. There's more hope that you can have that caring role as a parent and have a career. I think the themes are similar in terms of how can you have both. I think the biggest myth that we try and bust is the sense of quality over quantity. Often we hear a lot, don't we, in terms of the themes of parents, is I either feel guilty because I'm not doing anything really well. I'm not being a parent brilliantly, and I'm not being a professional brilliantly, and I'm certainly not being a very loving partner very well. So there's a lot of guilt swimming around, the sense of failure. We have this bar that we put up, and I think this is really influenced as well by social media and everything else about the perfect kind of parenting or professional, which of course often doesn't really happen. And it's very much like that beautiful swan. It looks very graceful and that is all in control, and then underneath it's paddling away. But I think there's a lot of feelings that there is a lot of fear and guilt and failure. Even now, there is still that, and I see that across all types of family units and all types of parents. And I think the reason I and we keep banging the drum about this topic and putting solutions in place, and I know that's what we're going to come to, is, Catherine, when we first started working in this space, which is the reason why we created Thriving Talent a long time ago, was in the workshops we always ask, so what are the challenges, who's the parent you would like to be, and then what's getting in the way. Or it could be what's the parent you expect you would like to be if it's pre-parental leave. And the scary thing for me is when I kind of dip back in to look at the feedback from all our workshops every month or two, and I specifically look at those pain points that we capture. All of you as trainers, you capture those. And I think probably the hard thing is that they haven't changed enough. They're still there. And that's why we've got to keep putting solutions in place for both the organization. I'm not going to go social or political. I'm just going to stay in an organization. What is it you could do as an organization to really retain and engage and give hope to this community? You can have a career in a caring role. And what is it the individuals can do? So there is still a need. So let's now move to that space of, okay, how do you do it? Don't leave us. How? So I'll kick us off with the kind of the organizational piece. And what are the most critical levers to apply to retain parents? And actually, these levers apply to retain anybody who has a caring role. So we're talking about parents, and parents maybe of young children. We talk about babies, but of course children last for a long time. It's a juggling act for many years, as we know.
We know.
And also, of course, aging parents or partners who are sick. So these levers apply. The levers, if you're in an organization thinking, okay, what is it we need to be doing, is the flexible working. You talked about that before. That's absolutely fundamental. Flex where, when, how, what, and being able to have those conversations with your manager that this is what I need for now, knowing that now does not last forever. What you need when children are very young is different as they get into adolescence and older. What I need right now is this, what will make this easier? So I think the flex piece is absolutely fundamental. There's no doubt about that. The second lever to start looking at is how, as an organization, are you equipping your managers, your team leads, to help their teams navigate these life transitions, knowing that every team leader or manager may not actually be a carer themselves. Mm-hmm. They've gone through that journey. They've not gone through that journey where, of course, it's exciting and it's a joy and it's terrifying and it's lonely and it's scary and you get flooded with a lot of doubt. So how, as a manager, do you navigate that? And for me, that's the second biggest lever is, please don't assume your managers know how to have those conversations, how to be proactive and say, speak to the team and say, listen, team, let's just do a quick scan. We're all going to be at different life transitions, and what we need to do is create an alliance, a team charter that allows for us to be high performing and to accommodate our different needs without this hierarchy of needs. And so rather than judge managers or expect them to apply all these often D&I initiatives, is
equip them.
Equip them. So
the return on investment there is so high. We underestimate how much they're under scrutiny. Their reaction, their microaggression, they're rolling their eyes the second they hear so and so is pregnant, and the impact is devastating, not only on the person itself, but the rest of the team is taking notes of that. And I'm surprised by how inadapted and inappropriate some reactions are.
I know. And also, I think linking to what you say, also sometimes, the biggest thing we hear from managers is actually a lot of the time with the multiculturalism of the organizations, especially we work with, is they don't know what to say. So they say nothing at all, not realizing the impact of that. And so this is where, if anything, equip your managers. If you can, make it part of your onboarding. So a training, a module around life transitions, make it bigger than parents. It needs to be about the whole facets of caring. If you can't, for whatever reason, budget time at this moment, then at least give them some real quick checklists or guidance on how to even scan your team before anyone's come to knock on the door to say, I may be pregnant or I'm about to be a parent. And think about, okay, what are the conversations you want to be having now so people don't feel scared to share their news. So that's what I would say at a kind of an organization level. If nothing else, do that. Then, of course, increase your different parental leave policy, your carer policy, make things equitable, look at your resources on site. Is there proper breastfeeding rooms rather than a first aid room? Are there maybe rooms where you can have a bit of rest, for everyone? So there's lots more, but I want to just focus on those top two. From an individual point of view, Catherine, what do you know resonates the most in terms of top tips that you can share for parents to help them facilitate this period in their lives?
I would see 3 points. Self-care, putting the oxygen mask on yourself so you can help the family, you can support the colleagues and feel less guilty. So normalize, talk to other parents, colleagues, what worked for them. There's so much loneliness. It's universal, really. Oh, you took a parental leave. Oh, and how did it go? And did you feel it was held against you when you came back? Oh no. Oh, I might. And and you negotiated to stop travel for 6 months. I did not know that was possible. Communicating, and sometimes that means also having courageous or delicate conversations, both at work, expressing your needs, expressing your ambitions, because parenting and being ambitious can go hand in hand as well, because people tend to assume. So no, do say it out loud. Courageous and delicate conversations at home to reconnect, to realign which parents we want to be. You said it, Deborah, and as a couple, and are you sure it's the right moment to take this new job, or just consider changing job? Organizing breaks from the routine, from the logistics conversations at home. It's not all about who's going to buy Pampers, but let's have a weekend, just the two of us, and organize that. A weekend once a year, twice a year, booking a recurrent babysitting, every Thursday evening, every Friday evening, fix 1 day per week as soon as you can, so you can breathe, so you can go visit some friends, go to the movie, just have a beer, but reconnect. And ask for help, ask for support, anything that will make your life somehow easier for a while. It's not forever. More hours with the cleaning ladies, have another parent picking your kids at school, shopping online, organizing the food ahead. Why not even having a sleep consultant or a hairdresser coming at home, a massage at home, whatever. Accept all the help. It's all welcome.
I love that. I love that. So for those of you who are listening live, then or recording, please do actually these ideas, and there's lots of them on the website resources as well, and there's lots in the blogs. Those key messages are so important. And as we come to a conclusion here, it really is important to emphasize it takes two. If I think of a park and a seesaw, I can't remember, I don't know what the word is in all the different languages, but that kind of seesaw action is, we need both. We need the organization to be really applying those levers to think, how do I retain this incredible population so that we stop the visible attrition. We know that a huge amount of attrition happens in the first 12 to 18 months. And we stop the invisible attrition. And that's where we see a huge amount of parents who opt out of putting themselves forward for a position, for a leadership position or development opportunity, because they think it's not possible. How can they juggle that as well as everything else? Or their managers opt them out, sometimes, because of benevolence bias, and they think they're being kind. And so we really need to make sure that, the system, the organization is being really mindful of how they can create the right environment and give that sense of possibility. And then, of course, the other seesaw is all those points you made, Catherine, is about taking care of yourself and taking those moments every few months, because everything changes, and think, right, what is it that I need now, professionally and personally? And one of the things I'm always grateful for, when I had the girls, and my career was for many years in IBM, it didn't feel difficult to have a conversation which was along the lines of, I need to come off client sites. I can't travel Monday to Thursday anymore. I need to go internal, not as exciting, but everything's a compromise. I don't believe you can have it all the time. I didn't feel nervous because there were so many female role models around me, senior leaders who were also carers and parents, who were juggling, who were harvesting at the time, even then, 18 years ago, flexible working, who were using the policy around, I had 12 months, 6 months paid, 6 months unpaid. And, if you're a leader and you are juggling, please make a lot of noise. Like Catherine said, communicate, talk about it, show that it's possible, and show that you've got to ask for what you need, and knowing that nothing is forever. Every few months it changes. So, be agile and be flexible, and organizations do the same. We've got so much resources on this. There's the website there. the teams at your disposal. And as I say, until we stop reading these pain points that come out of workshops and coaching, we're going to keep going. We've still got a lot of work to do. So, thanks for listening, Catherine. Thanks to you and the whole Thriving Talent team, who work so hard and are so passionate about making it possible to have a caring and a career. So thanks for being live with me today.
Yes, my pleasure.
Excellent. Okay, take care, all of you, and hope to see you at the next LinkedIn Live. Take care. Bye-bye.